Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Gee, it's great to start your day with coffee with Karma today. So, today I am going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic money, budgets. Yay. Hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help executive coaches, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market their client attracting books so that they can grow their businesses. And when you are trying to grow your business, you need to think about money. And so in this episode, I'm going to be sharing you 5 different tips, strategies, or areas of your budget that you need to consider so that your book it gets out and into readers' hands more effectively. So let's get right to it. But before I move on, if you're watching this on YouTube, please ring the bell, subscribe to my channel, and like this video. That helps me reach more people, and I really appreciate it. So, tip number 1, define your budget early. I like to do it in Excel. I figure out all the places where I think I might spend money, and then I have a column of what how much I think I will spend, and then I have a column of what I actually spend so that I know whether I went over or under my budget. It's a very simple spreadsheet. You can do it in Google Spreadsheets, you can do it in Excel, but basically you want to make sure that you're covering all the costs such as editing, proofreading, cover design, formatting, so that you know what your investment is before you even begin. And that can roll in advertising if you choose to do it. It can roll in a mentor. It can roll in the cost of a virtual assistant to help you do this, all those things so that you know how much you should be budgeting for. I didn't do that for my first few books. And so I have no idea how much money I spent on them. Um, I've gotten wiser since then and I'm much more mindful of the money I spend. And I think when you're mindful of the money you spend, you use it more wisely. It's not like you don't spend the money. Of course you do. Of course you do. But you're spending it more wisely. You're not just throwing it at the wall like it's spaghetti. Money is not spaghetti. There's a quote. Money is not spaghetti. Carma Spence. All right, on to tip number 2. Prioritize essential expenses. So you may create your dream budget list. You know, you all these things you want to spend money for. Then you decide, go through that list again and decide which expenses are essential. Meaning you can't do them yourself. You need someone else to do them. And you might even categorize it with these are things I have to spend money on. These are things I'd really rather not do and would like to spend money on. And then these are, well, if I don't spend money on them, that's okay. Focus on the critical areas that will directly impact your book's quality. For example, professional editing. I would recommend always have at least one paid professional editor go through your content. You can have 10 million other people do it for free, but that paid professional knows things that those other people might not, and it gets it cleaner. I highly recommend that. I also recommend cover. Now that said, I often design my own covers because I want it faster or the cover isn't or I already have a really good design idea for it, or I'm using a design that I've used in the past that worked really well, something like that. Otherwise, I've already purchased cover designs for like 3 different books and I haven't written them yet. But there was a deal, so I bought it. So that's another thing is there are companies who do cover design that will have a special. You may not have a book right now. Make sure that it doesn't expire, obviously. Most of them don't. And then purchase that puppy and have it in your files so that you know that when you publish your next book, you've got a designer lined up. That's just an extra tip. Tip number 3, doing it yourself versus hiring pros. There are lots of tasks like formatting or basic promotion that can be done by you, a low cost VA, or somebody more professional. Decide yourself which ones you feel confident you can do yourself and which ones you can't. Now, in my case, I have a knack for design. So is it perfect? No. I like to hire a professional when I can, but I often will just do it myself because it's faster and cheaper. And I have this idea and I want to iterate it and see what happens. Um, I do a lot of the editing myself because I've been a professional editor. I've won awards for being an editor. So I often do a lot of the editing myself. I always, always have a second and third pair of eyes look at my books before they're published. So right now, I happen to be fortunate enough to be married to someone who is also a communicator and a brilliant writer in his own right. So he's often my first run editor. And then after him, I have a professional to just polish up things that we might miss. It's always a good idea to do that. Um, but because I've edited the manuscript multiple times before I hand it off to anyone else, and then my husband edits it once or twice. By the time it gets to a professional editor, the cost of the editing is much less because the manuscript is fairly clean. So it depends on what your skill set is. If editing and writing are not your skill set, that's where you should be plunking your money. That's where you should be putting a bulk of your budget because it's that important. Yes, a typo may escape the notice of all editors, even if you had 100 of them. That's okay. Yes, there will be the person who's like the grammar Nazi and says, "You had a typo here. You left out a comma. You spelled that wrong." They aren't your peeps. Don't worry about it. But you want your book to look as professional as possible so that the people who are your peeps aren't turned off. Tip number 4, plan for marketing costs. Even if you're doing it yourself, there will probably be some costs involved. So, for example, with my latest book, Serve Up Your Book, I didn't go all okay, so I have a tale of 2 books. Public Speaking Superpowers, I plunked $5,000 into the marketing of that book. And honestly, that was not well spent. The people who did the agency, I'm sure they're good. And I know that the person who leads the agency has published many books and writes very good information, but her staff completely dropped the ball with me. And for example, they told me, we got you placement in 2 blogs, this blog and that blog. This blog has this topic that they want you to write about, and that blog has that topic. So I wrote a blog post for this blog and a blog post for that blog. They sent the blog post for that blog to this blog. So when they went to go send the blog, and this blog was a little more accommodating and published it. So when they got the post for this blog and sent it to that blog went, "This is not what I wanted." And I'm like, "But I wrote it and I sent it to you." They sent it to the wrong one. So I ended up writing a second article. They didn't like that one either, and I didn't get that mentioned. So I didn't think that $5,000 was well spent. Now, fast forward to Serve Up Your Book, which I I found a couple of places that do advertising. Both of them were around the $20-25 mark. One of them, I got none. The other one took it to bestseller. So now, that said, going to bestseller doesn't require a lot of sales on Amazon, but I can now say that book's a bestseller. And I thought I got a lot of value for my $25 ad spend, and I will be going with them again, and I recommend them. Their name is Written Word. They they are very good. They do what they say they're gonna do, and if you've got a book that appeals to the people who are on their lists, then it is definitely worth $25 to experiment. And they have all bunch of other things, which I will probably be doing in the near future. I'm just focused elsewhere right now. But yes, advertising costs, uh, in most cases, the more you spend, the better quality you get, but that isn't always the case as my story with the marketing agency. So vet and choose where your money is best spent. More often than not, it's better spent in coming out with quality product that you can then either market yourself or hire a low cost VA to help you market than it is to skimp on that and spend on a big expensive marketing or PR agency and then get lackluster results. Guerrilla where you can. That often for me, that's often worked best, regardless of the money spent. So, anyway, that's what I'm gonna say about that. 5th tip is budget for reinvestment. Once your book generates some revenue, reinvest some of it into further marketing efforts, such as paid ads or an audiobook version. So now when once you get into multiple books, it's a little harder to parse which book is making which money. So have a pool. This is my audiobook pool. This is my, I've got an audiobook pool where I'm saving up to do the spending that I need to do in order to do that. But I highly recommend that you take a portion of your proceeds and reinvest it into marketing your book. Because, like I say, in Serve Up Your Book, marketing never stops. Marketing is a journey, and you basically market your book until your book becomes irrelevant to your business. So, reinvesting in your marketing is a very smart investment indeed. And if you've written the book properly, then it is generating leads for you. So it's actually growing your business even if the royalties aren't that great. So there you go. There are 5 smart budgeting tips for authors. And look, my cat said hello. There he is. Anyway, this is Carma Spence saying ciao for now. And if you would like a copy of Serve Up Your Book, it's like a couple bucks, a little less than $2, and you can find it on Amazon exclusively in ebook format. If you would like the link for that, just drop Serve Up Your Book in the comments and I will send you a direct link. Ciao for now.